Hi everyone, welcome. I'm out here in my garden today and it's a really warm day, and the system we're checking in on is my grow bag here, which is now for a number of years been my outdoor worm bag, because I've got my worms that live inside and then I've got worms that I recruit from my compost barrel and run them in this bag, and most often the worms that occupy outdoor worm bag end up just becoming part of the population indoors. So what I've got for these little guys today is a half-a-gallon carton loaded with leaves that have been drenching in water. You can see if I tip it, the water starts to come up, and you can most definitely tell that this portion of leaves is going to be super soaked when it comes time to apply it as bedding. And the collection of yummy stuff we've got for them is all kinds of delicious frozen stuff. We got a couple chunks of watermelon, a couple pieces of cantaloupe melon, as well as this stuff here that was the material that surrounds the seeds. As I picked all the seeds out of that surrounding material, I put that aside and threw it in the freezer with the rinds. And this here is some sort of Mediterranean crunch. Pre-chopped up some sort of salad or whatever, which got a little bit too old at this point, and at that point it just becomes worm food. So we've been putting the old decorative top out only because it sort of does stay put, resting on this much more sturdy top covering I created. And besides, having a somewhat larger cover like that one, I think keeps pests out. Well, you know, it's so many different pieces that whatever creature's trying to get in here could simply move aside a piece of that anymore if they want it in. So I guess it's really not serving as much of a protective measure anymore. And you know, on one or two occasions over the past 14 days since we launched this system, I have been in here and I have peeked under the cover, but haven't done much more than take a peek just to make sure that the material was moist. And I was able to see right away that it was. And I don't know if you were able to see them, but right near the surface I already saw a couple worms just cruising the surface, or very close to the surface. But as soon as the tops came off and the bright lights were on, any worms that were still exposed to any portion of this environment that would have been hit with daylight, well, they probably would have started scrambling to submerge themselves. So the material on the surface feels nice and damp. Now I'm just going to kind of sample some material from the very bottom. No reason to think that what's down there would be any different, really. So it is kind of nice. And that was kind of my main consideration. I didn't know what to expect in terms of whether I had dampened these leaves adequately enough. I mean, I did actually take this entire grow bag and rest it inside of a large bus box, which was there too, just full of water, and this thing was pretty much sitting in that to get drenched. And then since I was able to just pull it out of there and the water drained, we ended up with some very thoroughly dampened leaves here. And here and there we're definitely seeing little pockets of worms hanging out. I guess we're probably encountering some of the leftovers from the feeding that we started this system with. I can tell that this is a banana, and from the look of it, this banana might have even had some fruity material down within it. So it's not too surprising that it's jam-packed with worms. Here too is just some, I'm not sure if it's just bedding that was beneath it, but stuff that probably got soaked from banana juices flowing out of them. And here too, different gooey things which might be food leftovers. And it's kind of my guess when I see a big mound of worms like this all huddled together. Something's got their attention, and it's probably not just this bedding material, it's whatever food was resting on it. So we've definitely had a pretty good little worm spotting there, excavating the feeding zone, checking out how the leftovers are holding up. even though there's leftovers, they're still going to get the tasty melon treat that I came out here with for them. And moisture-wise, I think we're in really great shape too. It looks like we've even got some twine here. Huh. I forgot all about that. Well, little bonuses for me to encounter when I come into my worm bin, because I just tend to forget so much of what I'm doing out here. But I guess even though there's leftovers, I think it's time to come in with a protective layer of this well-soaked bedding material. Some of it's dry there on the very tippy top, it seems, but anything that was submerged is going to be nice and damp. And I guess besides the frozen stuff that they're getting, all these leaves would definitely also count as fair game for the worms to consider as food. So let's drop in the food, and then on can come the remainder of all those lovely soaked leaves for them. We get the entirety of that delicious meal, and we got some nice big chunks here. Now they've got some bananas on the lower level, a nice hearty application of leafy matter as bedding in between, and now another layer of freshly added yummy morsels. So let's come in with the rest. And you know, I bought my hose over here thinking that perhaps at the end we could even just use a little rinsing activity as an excuse to dispense even more moisture into this system. Because, you know, the one thing about this system, it holds on to moisture really, really well, because what I did was I placed a bag right in between these two grow bags, because it's not one grow bag, it's two grow bags with a liner, a plastic liner that doesn't allow a lot of moisture to escape through the walls, but it's a plastic liner that is perforated. So any moisture that goes in there that's too much, it can just drain right out. But as far as being able to hang on to its moisture content, the system does really, really well. So, like I said, a little bit of rinsing of my transport container is going to equate to an excuse to give them even that much more moisture. And if you ask me, they're not going to complain about it. In fact, I think they're probably going to appreciate it. So that's pretty much it. Quick little check-in with the outdoor worm bag, couple little worm spottings as we explored the leftovers that they just somehow didn't manage to complete eating over the past 2 weeks. A little surprising, because the estimated worm count, I don't have an official number here yet, but so far we've got a dozen estimates, and that dozen estimates includes my estimate too. So 12 people all kicked in their estimates, and I don't want to give you an exact number yet, but so far we're hovering a little bit above 1,500 worms thought to occupy this system. And if you want to participate in that estimation game that I do, then I invite you to go check out the original video. I can which corner would it be? Up here? I could put a link to the video up in the corner, so you could check it out. And after you've seen how many worms got released into here, how many recruit worms that we enlisted from the compost barrel, then you could throw in a comment, and I'll include your estimate in the averaging calculation. So this is your ability to fine-tune that number if you think it's off. All right, everyone, that's it for the check-in. That was fun. Thanks for sticking around with me. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave me a quick thumbs up before you go. That's always really appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, please also consider subscribing to the channel. That's very much appreciated as well. And oh yeah, don't forget, check out the video at the link in the corner. I'd love to see your estimates. All right, have a great day. Bye now.